morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the badass Buddha, Lori Monaco, coming to you from the southeast, eastern Tennessee. I'm happy to be here today. Gladiator Guru is running a little behind schedule, but she will be on shortly. So welcome. I see my sister is on bright and early. You're the first one on, Lee. Welcome, and thank you for being here. Make sure that you like, share, follow, subscribe. I know that people are not necessarily getting the alerts that we are on. You would think by now that after 4 years, people would know what time we come on and just be ready, but that's not the case. Anyway, so welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. We are celebrating the living month. The month of April is your living month. And what does that mean? That means that we're going to be living our life to the fullest in whatever way that may be. So this month, we're going to be a little bit lighthearted. We're going to be talking about movement and taking action, but we're also going to be tapping into our child self and laughing a lot. So, and we're going to be creating. And that's the big theme is when we live our lives, we have to live our lives to the fullest. And that means like multiple areas of our lives. So we just don't want to focus on one. Who else came on? Amanda Prieto, good morning. Kathy Reese, good morning. Milagros, good morning. Gladiator Guru will be here shortly. She's just running a little bit behind schedule. So we're just so happy that you are all here. So tell us, we gave you an assignment on Tuesday. Tuesday's show was The Art of Being Silly, and we wanted you to be silly like a child, do something silly over that day or the next day. So we're curious, did anybody do anything that was silly? As if you type something in, or if you didn't do something yet, try to do something and maybe put in the comments what you want to do. But so I will share what I did. So for those of you that tuned into the show on Tuesday, I was all blinged out. I had my choker, blingy, diamonds with sapphires, not real, but man, I wish it was. And I had my tiara with all my diamonds on there. And so I had to go networking that day. Since I've, moved down here, I've had to restart my business. So I'm networking, meeting new people. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to show up with the tiara and with the necklace on. And so I did. And the funny part was I actually went to the wrong place. It was held at a restaurant, and there's 2 restaurants in that city. And I pulled into the wrong one, and I knew I did because I had been there before. And I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't the one that I needed to go to. And I wasn't paying attention to the GPS. So I was about 10 minutes late, and I walk in with everybody already being there, and they had already started the meeting. And here I am walking in with the TR. So talk about making an entrance. It wasn't like I subtly just slipped in there. And it was so well received. I mean, big smiles on people's face. Good morning, Tony. I'm happy that you're here. Gladiator Guru will be here shortly, so everybody just be patient. Janine is in the house. Janine, we got to catch up, my friend. We got to talk to each other and call each other on the phone. I want to hear all about how Morgan's doing and with school. I know she's in second year, right? Ending second year. Holy crap. And Liza, good morning, Liza. Hey, thanks, Liza. I appreciate that. It's nothing like a little hair dye getting out those grays can do for a person. So it's fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. So, and it was great. When I went to that network meeting and I had my bling on, I felt happy. I felt excited. I would see people's faces. Now, there's always somebody that's going to be like, what is she wearing? Like, blah, 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 but I didn't care. And I was so happy to be there and so smiley. And I told everybody too, when it was my turn to speak, I said, I thought I would bring in some I didn't say bling. I said, I thought I'd bring in some shine or whatever, something, and brightness and shine or whatever, because I missed the eclipse on Monday, which I wanted to see so badly. So I'm bringing that here. And everybody thought that was funny. But, and then yesterday was interesting. Yesterday I had another networking event, and I was going to get my hair done right after. So I didn't have like any product in my hair because I needed to get a touch up. So I put my little slouchy hat on, and I'm like, this is kind of like a little casual. And I'm like, screw it. I am not going to put all this stuff in my hair before I get my hair done. So I'm just going to show up like that, and I did. And the beauty is that the networking groups that I do down here are so laid back and so cool and so accepting. People do show up in jeans. It's not like where I was from up in Connecticut, where the networking groups would be in like suits and dresses, and I'm not knocking that. No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no judgment here. It's just not my thing. It's not my. I mean, I was actually even thinking about. I have one today. I was thinking about going with my tie-dye shirt on today because I just feel like it, but we'll see. If I had a name tag, I wouldn't mind. In fact, I wouldn't mind having tie-dye shirts as my business shirt. I have one business shirt so far with my business on it, but it's, it's black, it's plain, and they don't make them in crazy colors. So I was thinking about, I'm like, geez, I wonder if I should get an embroidered logo and then an embroidered name, and then have somebody that does seamstress work just sew it on so that I could wear any shirt that I want to wear. So for those of you that are tuning in, and if you did miss Tuesday's show, we asked you to do something silly. Be silly, go out of your comfort zone. And if you did get a chance to be silly, please put it in the comments. And if you didn't, it's okay. We're encouraging you to do that in the future, because or not in the future, I mean like this week. Like, we want you to live your life. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I know Liza very well, and it is not hard for Liza to be crazy and silly. Like if you dare her or you tell her to do something, she's going to do it. Like that's the way she is, For those of you that are a little bit more laid back, just get a little bit out of your comfort zone. Wear a tiara somewhere. Wear some funky glasses, like, maybe buy a pair of sunglasses that say love across it and just walk around, wherever outside with those glasses on. But sometimes it's nice to really let loose like that, because it allows your inner expression, your inner creativity to come out, your spirit to come out. And your spirit can be very childlike. So today's conversation is the eyes of a child. We're going to be talking about looking through life through the eyes of a child, or waking up that inner child. So that would be the reason for it. So we're excited about this conversation because Gladiator Guru and I we're on the same paths. It's very interesting. We're doing it differently, but some parts are exactly the same, but we're on the same path. And one of them is that, so she is very involved with her grandchildren. She went from Florida to her older grandchildren, and now she's with her youngest grandchildren. And she is ingrained in their life, and she's loving every minute of it, because I mean, she gets frustrated sometimes because she wants to do her thing. She's the nomad, the traveling magician. But you could see, and I could feel it when I talk to her, that she's loving every minute of it. And she is. And then when we talk about it, she's like, yeah, I am. She's soaking it up. So the thing is that she's experiencing their world, especially her 4-year-old, the 4-year-old. She's experiencing life through her. So it's reminding her of life in general. It's reminding her of another way to look at things, how to explore life, being excited about newness, where we sometimes as adults get really tired of that. Like we just take things for granted and we don't think about it, So hi, Maggie, nice to see you. Gladiator Guru will be here. She's just running a little bit late. I was hoping she'd be here sooner, but she's just running a little bit behind. Good morning, Carmen Nieves. Happy that you're here. So hang out, everybody. She's coming. So she has her grandchildren, and I have my youngest child who's going to be 11. And I have had the privilege of being able to look through her eyes for the last 10 years. For the first 3 years, it was a little dodgy. I was going through some really bad stuff. That's when I hit my rock bottom place. But when I came out of it, she was, at that point, she was 3.5 years old. Let me see. She was almost 4. Was she, wait, 2013? Oh, no, I'm sorry. She was 3. So this that happened when she was 2. And all she knows of me, hi, Anna Laura. All she knows of me is this person, the new person, the person that was living life a lot better, the person that was being silly and being crazy. And she calls me out on it because I'm not always silly and crazy. I could be the adult and I could be stuffy and I could be on my phone and doing something. And she's like, come on, like, let's do this. You're no fun, blah, blah, blah. And I hear those, and sometimes I get frustrated with her, but sometimes I have to stop and say, you know what, you're right. I'm getting the message here, God, because I've got to take advantage of all these moments with her. And she's allowed me to relive my childhood because we are very similar creatures. She's a big animal person. I was a big animal person. She loves music. I love music. She she could be very artistic. I was very artistic. And a lot of that I just sort of pushed by the wayside. I had some really natural abilities when I was a kid. I could pick up a tune and just start playing it on our organ that we had at home. And I could draw amazing sketches when I was little, but I sort of just put it to the side. I let other things get in the way. I didn't nurture that side of it, and I lost it. And so with her, I've been able to take back that and nurture that side again. There's still things. Oh, are you coming on, Gladiator Guru? Come on in. Oh, do I have to add you? Oh, you weren't ready yet. Okay. So there's some things that I have to still nurture. I really would like to get back to the art. I really would like to get back to the music. But I haven't taken the time to nurture those pieces yet. And I'm hopeful that I do so in the next couple of months. Hi, Gladiator Guru. We're glad that you're here. We had a bunch of people, then we lost a bunch of people, and I'm going to say that it wasn't because you weren't here, because then that would mean to just see me. So I'm hoping they just had somewhere else to go, but I'm glad you're here.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I was rushing. My alarm went off, but for some reason, I never took it off of like silent, everything. You put that little switch at the top of your iPhone and it goes red, and then you lower your volume.
Yeah.
So I apologize for being late. And then I'm rushing, and then I had to stop because rushing isn't going to make it go quicker. It's just going to make you make more mistakes, drop things, make more
That's
noise
true.
and everything. So then I remembered something, and I want to share this because it goes back to when I started working at the Human Development Center in Tampa. And we work with disabled adults. I'm sorry, Varas, I don't know what you were saying, but this is such an important message, and I got it in the midst of me doing the opposite. And I wanted to rush to get on with you guys, but also remember that there's always that pause that we got to take to just slow down so that then everything we have to do can come into place. And if we just like, oh my God, and I got to make the coffee, and I got to spray my hair in place. And I remember back in 2008, I'm running the thrift store at the Human Development Center. There was a lot of staff members because there was 8 group homes with 3 shifts of staff. So one of the staff was in that day to go upstairs to the office to get something. And one of my staff was there with their 5 people that they had to tend to that actually worked in the thrift store. And I don't know, I was doing something. I had to rush something. And I said, it's so damn hot in here. He goes, I love Florida. He says, you know what's the trick to the heat? And to anything. He says, I see you running around like a chicken without a head. He's like, remember, just stop, breathe, and flow with the moment. Flow with the moment, and it'll all come. You have to. We're always saying relax, but it's always, he just says, just slow down. Rushing isn't going to get you there any quicker. So do it at a slower pace so everything will line up because you're still going to get there. You're just not going to get there when you thought you were because whatever reason, so I slowed down. So my apologies to you. I hate being late to the show. Things happen, and I think we need to remember that things happen And thank God that I always lay everything out the night before. So that's always a plus.
So
So,
keep talking, my friend, because I want to share this. It is very frustrating. I will say this, that Facebook no longer lets anybody know that anything's going on. And I hear this all the time from people. I've had friends of mine say, hey, do you still do that show? And I laugh because I'm like, we've been doing the show. It'll be 4 years. We've been steadily doing it. We've been doing it on the same days, the same time, the whole time. So for people that have watched it in the past, not realize that, then I'm not saying it to be mean or rude. I'm just saying that they definitely did not memorize that fact. But we have been doing it the same time and the same and in the same platforms for 4 years. Actually, we started on Facebook, and then about 2 months in, we went to YouTube Live. But we used to post it to YouTube after we recorded it. We posted it to YouTube like that later that day. So we want the tribe to really push that we're here, to like tell people about us, and make note
mm,
of that they're there every Tuesday, Thursday. I've slowly been introducing the show to my network of people. And in fact, I'm actually thinking about doing this. So if I could get Gladiator Guru to talk for a bit, I'm going to actually directly text message a lot of my new friends down here with the link. So go ahead, Gladiator Guru. It's all yours.
hola, mi gente. Listen, I'm so excited to see everybody who's on the end. Kathy, Milagritos, Amanda, I need an appointment. Toji, Liza, Janine, Miggy, Carmencita, tú tienes un no sé qué. My voice is still sleeping. But we have Carmen, Lynn Lowe. What? Janine. Oh, it's so exciting. Ana
Yeah,
Laura.
a lot of people jumped off, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. It's just that that's why I'm like reaching out. I'm like, you know what? Again, I'm not going to take it personally.
No, we shouldn't. At least they came on. And that's what, it's always the effort for me. It's like my
Yes.
motto in life is I give everybody an A when I meet them. I give them an A. I don't care what people said about them because everybody's different with whatever spirit they're faced with. So I don't believe that because somebody's just an asshole with you that they're going to be like that with me. So I give everybody an A when I meet them until they fuck it up. So I like the fact that, when people, even if they come on for a brief moment, it's that we've planted that seed, that they've seen something that at that moment they can't stay, but that they'll return. So, and it's good. Ana Laura is not on every show. She comes on when she can because of her work schedule. But I love that Anita will still write her little comments in. She'll share something because that's what this is about. This is about, oh my God, wait a minute, I had an experience like that. Or really, that's what happens when that. This is about, it's like I say in my Viva Goes Live in 5, come on, join the show, join the tribe. And then I say, share, listen, learn, and teach forward. Because that is really what our purpose is in this world, is to be of service to others. Not everybody's going to want to listen to what you have to say at that moment, because the book that my longest book that I have been working on is El Jardinero de mis Raíces, which is the book about my dad. But in there, I say that he planted so many seeds in our childhoods, and then when we were teenagers, um, and we were like, yeah, whatever, whatever. And it wasn't until after his death that we were like, oh, this is what he meant. This is the seed he planted so many years ago. But sometimes something will grow when it is supposed to. It is always on time. We just got to make sure that we are aware of our lives, of our situations, of our circumstances. And sometimes when we're so frustrated with something, the answer has already been there. It was already there because it was planted years ago. And I know Anita can agree with me because her father was the same way. And then you get that aha moment, like, oh my God, I mean, this is what he meant when he said this. So I love when people just pop up on the show, or they heard about it and they got 5 minutes before they start a meeting, or they got to get in the car and they see us, because it only takes a moment for us. What do they say? First impression is what? The first 3 seconds when you enter the room. So I'm hoping they come back, just like you guys who are here and you guys invite Wanda Stover. Hello. So, it's about, we're going to share, and hopefully they will listen. And in the interim of all of us writing and speaking, they will learn. And then when the show is over, they'll go on and teach. Whether you're in the grocery line and somebody says something and you're going to remember something that was conversed on the show, and you're going to say, oh, by the way, I heard recently that, blah, blah, blah. Now you're sharing that knowledge. Now that person is going to go on. And I think that children do the same thing. When a child, they'll come home and they'll snotty face and hands and they'll want to share something with you. They share everything, kudos and all. But they will do that. They'll come home and say, so, like my granddaughter came home, and I'm not going to say the name because I can't get it right, but it's this beautiful little girl with these round pink glasses. And I think she wore a dress that Savannah liked. She comes home, and for like a week, she's like, but I want that dress that, I don't know, Sabita, something like that, has. And because she said this, and they remember, and if children can do it, then we have no excuse. Children will come in and they get excited over an ice cream cone. When we're like, I don't eat ice cream, I'm lactose. We're always putting the negative connotation on something, right? Have a lick, it's not going to kill you. So
That's what
I,
he said.
I needed that one, but boom. So, we're going to continue on with the conversation, but
Molly. Hi,
my
Molly.
main thing with what we have forgotten on purpose, or because shit's gonna happen, mi gente. You're gonna be inundated with negative people, with backstabbers. You're going to be ridiculed and criticized, but you should never ever allow, you are the only one who can allow your imagination, your fantasizing, you seeing something and saying, oh my God, that looks like such a ugly draw, and visualizing what you can do to shabby chic it and make it beautiful. Let me tell you something. Where did our imagination go? Where did the silliness of everything we possess go? And
It
if you
went with
want
our
to,
bills. It went with our
but it
problems.
doesn't matter. The bills were an addition to
Oh
who you
no,
are.
I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
our
And
excuse.
people, they like absorb, oh, life is so hard. Life is not hard. I'm sorry to tell
We
you.
make it hard.
Life simply is. You
Life
choose.
is simple. Life is simple. We make it harder than it has to be. And when you look at from the eyes of a child, children just they just redirect, and the worst part about it is that we're the ones, the adults, that mess them up for the adulthood, because we tell them to stop being that way, we tell them to stop acting that way, and instead of allowing them to just be who they are because of our own BS. And
But
that
that's
that's
what
why
I'm saying.
being yeah, that's why being around children is so important as you are stepping into your enlightenment, because you have to, those urges of you to want to tell that child to stop doing that, or being stupid, or that's silly, don't do that. That's where you have to stop yourself and then have that awareness and say, where's that coming from? Is it because I'm protecting them, or is it my own stuff? Most of the time it's your own stuff. It's
It's your
our
own
own.
bullshit, because let me tell you, Wanda, have a great time at the dentist. Let me
Bye,
tell you something.
Wanda. Wanda's always at the dentist. Bye, Wanda, I
People
love
can
you.
say, oh, yeah, but yeah, you didn't have the life I had. It doesn't matter what type of life you had, what type compared to the life I had. We are in control of everything, and our imagination links us, keeps us connected to that inner child. Leanne, I cannot wait. That is so excited. Do you know I introduced my daughter to BTS, the Korean pop thing? And that's all she wants to listen to,
You and your
especially on the way to
Korean
school.
stuff.
So listen, and now her aunt found out, her father's
Monica.
sister,
Hi,
that
Monica.
she loves BTS, so she's gonna look for a concert. But oh my God, videotape that, Leanne, with you tap dancing with your granddaughter in your tutus. That is just so adorable.
Well,
Do it.
listen, speaking of, I'm sorry to cut you off, but just reminded me. So my youngest daughter was very upset with me and my sister because my sister and I were goofing around in the kitchen on Sunday, and what were we listening to, Lee? It was it a disco song or whatever? And I was dancing with the goat. So I had the goat, and I picked the goat up with its front feet, and we were like dancing, and so my sister videotaped it. And my youngest was so mad. So now she keeps saying, "When can we dance with the goat again? When can we dance with the goat again?" And the funny part was it was just me and my sister. So it wasn't like we had any kids around. We just got goofy like that because she and I are really good about that. Like we will start laughing at the stupidest stuff. We will, and it's good because we can both get into our own headspaces. She's got a lot going on. I got a lot going on. And it's so nice when we have those moments where we're just being stupid and silly, and we're like, whatever, I don't care. And so she's filming it. And I'm like, I don't care if she puts it on social media and me dancing with the goat. It was funny, I'm not going to be embarrassed about it. I mean, I would, if I thought that it was going to be embarrassing, I'd have to, either not do it or say, hey, listen, just don't put that on social media because I mean, I had fun, but I don't want everybody sharing in my fun.
Listen, I don't think that when you're having fun or when you're doing something silly, that the word embarrassed should even come to thought because a child doesn't think about it. And listen, this show, the title of it is just that. And sometimes, good morning, Neda. Sometimes what we have to do is we have to travel back to that inner child that we still possess inside of us.
Yes.
And be like, fuck it. I don't care who laughs. I don't care who thinks I'm silly or none of that, And like, let me tell you, I am me wherever I go. I talk to people, I make remarks. I'm like, hey, and we get in the elevator and everybody's looking down or up. And when we were at the hospital, I was like, elevators are so awkward because that broke the ice. Well, my son is 34 years old and he'll still say since he was little to me, don't embarrass me when we would go out. And I'm like,
that's
toughen up, buckle up, do whatever you got to do. But
buckle up, Buttercup.
And this was my child who would say that.
Yes.
His father used to constantly say that too. But what I'm saying is, there are moments where we have to be, and it's so hard for me. It's like that Italian side of me when I have to sit on my hands because I'm going to go off on somebody and I feel mute. I feel mute when I sit on my hands. So never, ever, thank you, Neda, never let anybody dim your light. And if you're too busy worrying about what the next person is going to say about you, then I'm going to say that I feel sorry for you. Because who gives a shit? It's that point blank period.
Yes.
People are like, oh, but what if they see me acting like this and then they go tell the person that I'm supposed? Who gives a shit? You're overthinking the situation. No wonder you're lost. No wonder you don't know who you are. No wonder you feel overwhelmed and riddled with anxiety because you don't know who you are. So when you're in different places, you have different emotions that you cannot control. That little child will go anywhere. Listen, I went out with my 3-year-old granddaughter, 3.5-year-old. We go to we're at TJ Maxx. Somebody says, oh my goodness, look at you. Because she's walking, right? Like a proud little peacock and shit. Just walking, looking. Hi, how you doing? And then the guy's like, how old are you? She said, and she looked at me and she goes, I'm 6. I'm like, no, you're not.
She's a trip, man.
And she has this little grocery. Hold on.
Oh my. There we go.
She has this grocery cart with fake food in it, right? And I'm like, I'm not buying you that. Yeah, you are. I said, I'm not buying you that. Your mother's going to get pissed if we bring another toy home. So I said, you could roll with it around the store, but I'm not paying for it. And so she's like, well, excuse me. She's telling people. And she's like, yeah, it's my groceries. Nobody asked her, but she's just going around. She sees a kid her size. And she goes, oh, look at the baby. He's so cute, And I'm cracking up. This kid cracks me up all the time. Like yesterday, I took her to school. She had her mother's lip gloss. I put it in her jacket, zipped it up. I said, when you come home from school, you could take it out. Okay. Well, she did just that because I picked her up. So I put her in her car seat. She's like, can you get my lip gloss? So we haven't even left the parking lot of the school. And I lower the mirror and she's putting it on. And I says, don't put so much on. You're putting too much on. You know what? She looks at me in the rear view mirror because that's how I'm looking at her. This is what she does. Just drive. And I'm like, I'm cracking up. You know why? She could be rude with me. I'm the grandma. But the personality, and when we yell at these children for having their personality, we're robbing them of the moments to get to know themselves.
Yes.
We have been robbed throughout our lives that we have this facade that we don't
Yes.
even dare share dreams
Yes.
unless we either got it going on or
Yeah.
for whatever the reason. Go back to being a kid, giggle,
Yep.
jump on a mattress. Who's going to yell at you now? Go run through, the fountains that they have at parks. Run through it like a kid. Jump in a puddle. Why are we worrying about our socks getting wet? We control the laundry room. There's so many things that go behind it. In a child's imagination, we were watching a scary movie. My granddaughter got scared. You know what she said? I'm not scared because monsters are only in the imagination. So, yeah, this is my little girl.
You know what's so funny? Your son is in for it because all that stuff that he said about don't embarrass me, this kid is like a version of you. And he's going to get this for the rest of his life. That this child from this child, so he better buckle up, Buttercup.
She is, and he tries to drown it, but she's not. And Laura wrote, I want to know what was your turning point in liking children. I got 5 grandchildren. What do you expect? And then I got one that likes to be on the spotlight. Meet Taviana, everybody.
Hi, Mama. Look, I wore a tie-dye shirt. I heard you like that.
Yeah, look at her shirt. You like it.
Yeah.
Say, Anita. Say hi to Anita. So,
Gladiator Guru is an awesome grandma. Like awesome. Like we talk about it all the time. And an awesome mom. She's there's things that I'm learning from her that I'm doing differently with my youngest child, and it's and we talk about this a lot too, that you're really enjoying. I know you're a nomad. I know that you're a traveling magician. I said that earlier on the show, but you're also truly enjoying this time with your grandchildren. And then she talks to her oldest granddaughter on the phone, and it's just very cool. She's established a really, really cool relationship with her grandkids, and it's nice. She's still being her, and she's accepting them for who they are, and they're all being who they are. And I think that's so incredibly important, because I remember when I was a child, I was so not like my mom. Like, I was the absolute opposite of my mother. My mother was more of a truly, and I say this with love, but my mother really is a prima donna. And if she, and I say it in a loving way, she's just very particular, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a judgment. It's just an observation. And she likes things a certain way. She believes things should be a certain way. She was sort of one of those people that was more like she wanted prim and proper. Well, I was the opposite. I was the complete opposite. I was barefoot all the time. I was dirty all the time. I was climbing trees. I was catching critters. And for years, she would try so hard. I hated wearing a dress. She would put these gowns on me. It wasn't like even a dress. It was like the dress that went to the floor, the stockings, and the Mary Jane shoes, and my feet were wide, and it's like, I would put these Mary Jane shoes on. They were so uncomfortable. And she would say to me things like, all right, I want you to keep your shoes on at least for the first like 15 minutes that you're there, because she knew me. The minute I walked in the house, those shoes would be off, and I would be in the stockings the rest of the time. And sometimes the stockings would come off. And she would always have these little lectures to me. Don't, when we get there, don't be climbing all these trees, you're going to rip your dress, or don't do, and I would be like, but that's what I want to do. Like, it's no fun to be sitting on my butt and doing nothing, you know, because I'm restricted with this outfit, you know. So you live and you learn, you know, so you respect your child's wishes on what they want to wear. And, you know, sometimes, and I get it. Sometimes I'm like, I do want my kids to dress a little bit better, maybe wear something that's prettier, or, you know, not prettier, but just dressier, but also understand who they are. And so what I usually did, and this was especially when Charlotte was younger, I would bring a change of clothes and I would say, okay, so let's get there. Just wear this for now. And then if it gets uncomfortable, you know, then we'll change you. Sometimes she would change and sometimes she wouldn't, you know, and the bottom line was, is she was making that choice once we got there. If she didn't like what I picked out, or she didn't like what she was wearing, I gave her the option to change. And if she didn't change, then she was okay with it, you know. But I those like restrictions, you know, I remember them, and I remember them as a joke now, but I really wasn't like, I could never pick my own clothes. I was, you know, I didn't pick my own clothes till I was like 10 years old. Like, I wasn't, even then I would pick them and you're not wearing that and stuff like that. So
Well,
it's important for us to allow them to be who they are, but it's also
exactly.
important for us to learn from them. So that's what this is really about. It's not really about allowing other kids to do things. It's about us, our inner child. How would you nurture your inner child? What would you do today? What did you do when you were a child that you don't necessarily do anymore, but it brought you so much joy as a child? Write it down. Put it in the comments. Is it so hard for you to try to do it now? Like, would it be that big of a deal if you did it now? So make that list put it in the comments, but also just make a list for yourself and
Mm-hmm.
see how much of that you can do now, you know?
Yes. Salud. Thank you for your compliment, my grandkids. And that is so true what you said. When Tiffany was about 3, I let her dress however she want. But you know what? A lot of people, Salud, back then, our parents growing up, and the majority of us today are imposing on our children in what's called el que dirán. They would not allow you to dress up because, oh, but what are the neighbors going to think? Or what if we go to your auntie's house and they're going to think I don't have clothes for you? And that's el
Yes.
que dirán, which is a
They think
really
I
good
don't, I'm not
relationship
clean.
builder.
Yep.
Yeah. And it draws children away from their parents. It's just, it's something that, let me get the baby. It's something that it ruins everything, even in relationships. El que dirán, Anita, you know about that. Anita has 6 grandkids. Oh my God. No. So I think when you allow your children to be who they are, they grow up into confident human beings.
Yes, I
And
agree.
so Tiffany used to dress crazy. Now, my kids, it came to a point where I was that strict parent as well, where when we went out, they couldn't get dirty. Like, they really got in trouble if they got dirty. Like, you better make sure when you're eating this, you got the bib I brought you. And then I think when my son was around 2, he kept getting dirty. I think he was doing it on purpose. And I was like, you know what? And I always brought extra clothes. But there are parts in our lives as parents who suffered this from our parents. And then it snuck up in us to impose it upon our own until we realized. The bottom line is that you realized it and you did things differently. And Charlotte is she's gonna be one of those people you read in National Geographic, taking pictures and studying animals and just being
I
out there.
hope so.
That's
I
what I
hope
see
so.
Charlotte
Yeah,
as.
I
You
do
know?
too.
And I think, Anna said, what was the turning point in me? Liking kids because I didn't want to be a mom, and then I had 2, and then here I am now with 5 grandkids. And I think the grandkids just bring so much different joy to you. You don't love them more than your kids. I think you love them
It's different.
because it's your chance to give back. Because when you're a young mother, as Anita and I was, you're working and you're making sure your kids have everything and they're getting to school on time and they're eating and they're doing their homework, or I'm doing their homework to 2 in the morning. And it's all of the stuff that with the grandkids, you admire your children more. You're holding what they created, and
Yes.
you can give back that way. You can love. And it's like you're feeling that love for your child because now you're loving their child and you're having fun with their child and they're smiling through it. So I mean, it's a good effect going through. And so I think that's that inner child within to recognize what we need.
Anna wrote, girl, we used to hide from our kids.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's very hard. Anita and I go way back, but we even moved to Orlando together, and she stood and I came back. So, but when you can love, I think being a parent, I was a teen mom. Anita was a teen mom, and thank you, Toji. Toji said you're so right. I still feel hurt the way I want my daughter to stay clean because of el que dirán. Yeah, we're all guilty of it, you know. And so when you can allow your children to speak and with but see there's a child needs structure and boundaries. They need to know how far they can go. When you don't give a child structure and boundaries, they grow up resenting you that you didn't give them structure and boundaries, and had you done that, they would have lived life differently.
Well, they go differently. It's different. If you gave them too much structure, they resent you. If you give them not enough structure, they resent you. It's that middle ground. But again, it's, the thing is that I still want to move so far from the main topic. This is the living month. We're if you are not happy in your life, the question is why? What is it? What are you resisting? I'm in the process of helping our friend Gail, our tribe member Gail. She's coming out with a new book, and I got to tell you, I'm going to highly recommend this book to everybody. It's so fantastic, and she taught. There's one part where she's talking about resistance, and and we all know this, that whenever we resist, it persists. This is proven. When we resist, it persists. The more we resist it, the more it persists, and it becomes that really annoying thorn in our side. So what of your true self are you resisting? And if it is that beautiful child that you used to be, then play with that child. Let that child out. Talk to that child. What is it that they want to tell you? What is it that they want you to hear? What is it that they want you to do? And it is always easier to be silly. We talked about this on Tuesday, when you are around children, like it gives you permission to be silly, that people don't quote judge you because you're being silly and you're on the swings and you're on the playscape with the kids, and well, there's kids there. But screw it. If your inner child is telling you, gosh, I miss going to like a park and just going down the slide, then go. Don't even you have to borrow a child. Just go, stop, slide down, and then give something for everybody to talk about. Just slide down a few times and get in your car and leave. It's run, like children will run for no reason. They'll run so fast that they look ridiculous running and they don't care. Play games outside in your yard, play games inside the house. A group of your friends come over and say, we're going to play Monopoly, or something that is just so not the quote adult game. We're going to play life. Just invite them over. And yeah, you could be a grown up and still have some cocktails while you're doing it. We're not going to say no to that, but it's just take yourself to the zoo. If you like animals, just go. Like if you have a time and a break in your day, just go to the zoo and just walk around and enjoy it for yourself. But do these things that make you happy. Like we have a really cool zoo, like literally 10 minutes from the house. It is awesome. And I liked it so much that I've actually thought about just going myself one of these days just to walk through it, because it's such a pretty zoo. They have so many animals, and not huge ones. They just have a lot of primates and stuff like that. But it's things like that. Like, why do I have to wait for my child to get out of school? I mean, unless she really wants to go. So I'm looking at that from that.
But even if she wants to go, you got to feed that inner child when you can. You see, you can go back another day with her.
That's correct. Yeah.
Because that's another el que dirán. What you just said is what a que dirán, unless my child wants to go. So there, once again, we are pushing our inner child aside to accommodate someone else,
Right.
whether it's our own children or not. So I'm so happy you said that, because see, that's where we got to catch ourselves. Unless blah, blah. Here we are again, putting others before us. And that's why we're in the pickle we're in. Go. And if you have to go twice that day, then so be it. Make sure you stored enough cans and cashed them in to have the fare to get in. That's how we got to think. I'm so happy you said that. That's how exactly we have to think. Because we gave up on top of the restrictions our parents put upon us. We had to grow up when we weren't even grown-ups.
Right.
In my scenario, I grew up with alcoholism and domestic violence. So we had to grow up.
Yeah.
We had to be responsible for ourselves. I was in third grade being responsible for my little sister in kindergarten. And we would go to school with ponytails all on the side and everything. But hey, at least our hairs got brushed, at least the top part. So some of us were forced to grow up quicker than we should have.
Right.
So today, when I want to do something, when I want to wear diamonds all over my face, when I want to wear a wrap, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to be who I am. I have to stay true to who I am. And I don't give a shit. My son, when I shaved my head off, he's like, are we going through a midlife crisis or what? And that was okay that he asked that. But the thing is, I never care about who is going to observe me and say something. But we did. But I'm at the other side of the spectrum now where I cannot, because what the accusation we put on life being so hard for us, like we're the only ones that had a hard life, is what a blessing it was. Yeah, I was forced to grow up at a very young age. Forced where I had to brush my sister's hair because it was my choice to, because I didn't want us going looking like Frazzle Rock to school. But life just showed me, it prepared me. And in the middle of all of that, I was still this silly bunny that my child would tell me, don't embarrass me when we would go out. Because I would sing out loud. I would dance in the grocery store line when they were little. Tiffany loved it. My son, not so much. But there's moments where we forgot. And that's why this show right here is so important. Because Badass Buddha is going to go to the zoo by herself. And wear your crown. I think that would be spectacular. And then
I think, oh, this is a wacky lady.
And then take a selfie. You know what? There's
In
this.
fact, I'll give out my cards. I'll give out my business cards while I'm there too to top it off. Like, oh,
listen, if you go on Instagram and you look up the Green Lady, it's this lady from Nova Scotia, moved to Brooklyn years ago as an artist, started in the meatpacking section. I don't know what that is. The fashion section of New York. She lives in Brooklyn. Her hair is green. Everything she wears is green. Different, lime green, my color green. Her whole apartment is green. Okay. Say have a nice day.
Bye.
bye, everybody.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
You too, Mama.
And people interview her all the time. She's on people's pages being interviewed, like, what's with the greens? And she talks about how, as a child, she was restricted. And now she's like 80-something years old. She's the cutest thing. Look her up on Instagram, the Green Lady. But I don't want to be 80, 90 years old to be me. Do you? Me
Right.
and everybody on here, do you want to wait that long?
That's a good point.
Are you saying, I'm going to be me until 2 o'clock because then when the kids come home and then the hubby comes home and then I got to go back to the real world? You are the real world.
Right.
You are that life of the party, even though it's a party of one. Okay? You are that ball of fun that makes the party. You're the one that nobody starts having fun until you walk in. And so be that. And like I'm saying, if you're going to have a party, have a party. Put all the jazzy stuff up. And then show up dressed the way you want to be dressed. And then sit down and look at nobody because it don't matter.
That's right.
No matter who's there. Y el que dirán, leave it in the top gaveta, right next door to el miedo. Because my father always said, you put your fear, you take it out of your pocket, and you place it in your top drawer, and you just go about your day. El
I
miedo
love
se
that.
deja en la gaveta. Yeah. So you need to do that with
But it's
anything that's going to hinder you. Go ahead.
but it's even like okay, so I know Gladiator Guru loves rain. I do too, and not as much as her, but she loves it. But how many times have children, you did this when you were little, they go out and they just stop right in those puddles. And then they get yelled at because they're getting all muddy. Well, but it was so much fun, it was fun to get wet. I mean, I don't like getting wet when it's cold out, but when it's warmer out, it's cool to be able to just
Girl,
get
I need to get wet. Go
stop
ahead.
in there. And it's like, what's the big deal? So you get, you have a mud fight, or you do something silly like that. What? So you get it all in your hair and you have to wash yourself off. So what? So what? It's about, it's not, we're not telling you to to throw away everything and be like, but that's not really me. We're not telling you not be you. What we're telling you is to go back to that little you and remember what was so important to you back then. Okay, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a vet. I don't want to be a vet now. Even if I went back in time, if I was younger, would I want to go to vet school? No, I don't have an interest in that. But I do have an interest in things around that. So it's go back and relive those elements of yourself when you were a child, and how much of that can you bring into your today. And it doesn't have to be constant. It's just a few items, like going to the beach and like being on a boogie board, or or anything that you maybe never got to do as a child, but you really wanted to do. And now guess what? You're an adult and you can do it because now you have money and you could create your schedule. Nobody's telling you not to do that stuff.
Yes.
So think about those things, because what that does is it helps you relive the living part of you. It's that little piece of you that's just so innocent and just so enamored by life in general, so excited about the silliest little things. And we as adults look at that and go, God, that's so stupid. I can't believe they like that. Because you've already experienced it and you made a choice, but they didn't. So go back to that child. Think back to what excited you. What can you do today and from this point going forward, here and there, that reminds you of your childhood? And if you have forgotten your childhood, go back to pictures. Jog your memory by going back to pictures and look at, and some of the memories might not be great, but that will jog your memory.
Yes.
If this was important to you and you loved this, do you still love this deep down? And if you do, how come you're not honoring yourself by either doing that or having that? If you used to ride your bike all the time and as an adult you don't have time and you haven't ridden bikes and you feel stupid because you're probably really rusty, who the hell cares? If you think about it, you say, God, I really did love riding my bike. Then get a bike and just go somewhere privately until you get, listen, remember that expression? It's like riding a bike. There's a reason they say that, because our body remembers
Yeah.
what it's like to ride a bike. And so just do it. Just get that stuff, like scooters, like our driveway, unfortunately, is not good for that. But when we lived in Connecticut, sometimes waiting for the bus, we used to, Charlotte and I would just go down the hill and just ride our scooters, and then go back up and then ride again and kill the time. And that's the fun part. Like you can do those things. Nobody's going to tell you not to do those things. The only one who's going to tell you is you.
Yes. Look at Kathy wrote that she got to ride on a boogie board at the beach last year. That's awesome. And her mom used to let her play in mud puddles. I do that with Savannah. I don't care what she got on, but her parents can buy her new sneakers. And we have fun. I took her to my studio the other day and she's like, wow, Willa. She puts her hands on her head. This is awesome. She sat in every chair. I think I sent you the picture. She sat in every chair in there. She stood outside and she's looking at what I did on the outside. And then she goes, take a picture. She loves to be demanding. Take a picture by the doorway. And, and I'm so excited. We're running up and down the hall outside of it. And because she liked she was scared when we first came on. I said, but take another step. And she's like, no. I said, take another step. And she did, and the lights went on. I said, you see, it's magic. So we started running down the hallway in the factory. And as we're running, the lights kept coming on as we were getting closer to it. And she just loved it. But guess what happens? When we're in the car, she's playing BTS on my phone. I'm like, okay, we're at the school. She don't care. She don't turn it off. So we dance all the way to the front door doing BTS. And then she's like, look. And she shows, I said, Savannah, it's time to turn it off. She says, not yet. So I said, okay. So we dance all the way to her classroom door. And people look at us and they smile. So we're elevating other people's day as well. When somebody smiles, that breathes life into them. So
That's
listen,
right.
Be the inner child. Be the child you always wanted to be by allowing that inner child to be set free. Okay? Be the child you always wanted to be by allowing that inner child to be set free.
It's not hard.
It's not. Stop worrying about what people are going to say, who's going to look at you funny. At the end of the day, mi gente, please understand this. No one gives a fuck. No one.
Only you.
The only impact it is going to have is in your spirit.
You're the only one who cares. That's in the end. That's the only one who gives an F. It's you. You're the problem. Don't be the problem anymore in your life.
No.
Cheers.
Just do it. You have to breathe and then just go for it. You know what? I saw some tutus, and thank you, Leanne, for reminding me. I saw some tutus. I said it'd be cute to go out with Savannah with this. And when it's warmer out. So thank you for that idea. I wonder, nadie me paga los biles. That's right. Nobody pays my bills. And that's how you got to look at it. Like, really, who are you worried about that are going to criticize you?
Yeah.
Be the inner child. Awaken your imagination. Once again, you have it. That's what got you through your childhood. For us growing up in Bridgeport, and like my son's father was born and raised in Brooklyn, it was turning on the fire hydrant in the summer. That's how we cooled off because, we were very poor. So we didn't go to swimming pools. Shit, we didn't have a swimming pool in the projects. So you turn on the hydrants and they would block off the streets, and that would be our fun. Okay? Or we go to somebody's place and they will connect the water hose. Remember, we used to drink from the water hose. Now it's like, so, oh my God, don't do that. So be free. And if you have to plug in the water hose in your house this weekend and wet all the kids or the grandkids, and then wet yourself and get that thing that you jump on and you slide down.
Oh,
glass,
yeah. You can make it yourself. You can make it yourself.
Yeah.
Go to Home Depot, just get the plastic and then just run a hose. And it is so much fun. And again, it's this, I can't do that. Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. And the funny part is once you let go and you do some of that crazy stuff, have a water fight, fill up water balloons, have a water balloon fight with the kids, or have just with the hose, the moment you could do that, you'll feel free. You'll laugh, you'll giggle, and you'll also be able to see all the adults around you who are stuffy, which is what you used to be. They'll be like, oh, don't get me wet. Oh, I don't want to do that. Now, I don't like getting wet sometimes because I get cold really easily, but I got to get past that. I'll admit that, because there's so many times where my kids have wanted to do that stuff. And I've always been like, no, it has to be like really hot for me to do it. So it's enough already. It's just, I have to get out of that space and be like, this is the time, especially when I'm playing with my kids. These are the moments. These are the magical moments they're going to remember. Like your granddaughter is always going to remember that studio. She's always going to remember that. So, oh my God, remember when she's older, remember when we had that studio in Shelton, and it was just, oh my gosh, it was so colorful. And I cannot wait for you to start showing people your place, because
once I get some stuff, but
it's incredible.
Squirt guns, yeah. Thank you for that. But it's like my older granddaughter. I FaceTime, I showed her, she loves it. But even with Anaya, who's 21 now, and she's about to have her tattoo shop, and she's a nail tech, and she's a supervisor at her real job, which she shouldn't because she makes so much more money and she's my tattooist. Look at that. And we have fun together like that. My 17-year-old, he's working, he got his license, he got a part-time, he goes to school, he doesn't get up on time, driving his father crazy. But then I go and I let him borrow my Volvo because it's in Florida. So I'm like, okay, drive it. And I gave strict rules with it. Then I got my 14-year-old who's 6'2". God bless him, beautiful. He's a football player. He's really good in his sports. And then you have Miss Sassy Pants, Sassafras over here. Just drive, she tells me. And then we get in the elevator. She gets back and she's like, you're in my personal space. Like, what are they teaching you in school?
It's too much, man. It's so funny.
Then you got the 3-week-old you could tell she's gonna have that Italian temper. She'll raise her arms and then lets out a cry like, hello, who's coming to my rescue? So it's like everybody's different, but you love them the same. And now when you reach this age, in the second half of my life, and we're talking this show, the Badass Buddha, we come up with this show, you look at them and you treat them accordingly, but you have fun because they're all like children. Even though Naya's 21, she's still a child to me. So, and you look at them and you say, I'm going to have fun with them because they all love to laugh. They all love to, one day I walked in and my grandson's on the phone with some girl. He's like, oh, I'm at Walmart. I'm going to Walmart now with my grandmother, the one I was telling you about. And then he turns the phone on. She's like, hi, I heard so much about you. That made my day. That a 17-year-old boy is talking about me to his friends.
Especially that's a big thing.
Yeah. So the thing is, you know what? I know I'm cool. I'm cool like that. You know what? I don't give a shit because it's not my business what people think and say about me. When you do say something that bothers me, rest assured I'm going to come right back to you. There's no secrets. There's no secret agenda because then I can move on with my life. And sometimes it's a little different depending on the person. But then when you let it out, it's like, and you move on. And the older I get, the more nicer I become, you can say. I don't know, but that's where we're at. But I always have that imagination. When I can't sleep, I imagine myself on stage singing in front of a whole bunch of people and blah. And then I fall asleep and I never see me winning the award because that's what I'm fantasizing. Try it. Or depending what mood I'm in, I'm having a great sexual fantasy going on in my head since I've been celibate for so long. And then I go to sleep before the big shebang. So the bottom line is fantasizing works, especially when when you can't get to sleep. And I'm sharing this because this is what I do. When I tell my kids that, they're like, you're disgusting, stop. But then they laugh because that's the mom that I am. I that inner kid.
That last one wasn't the eyes of a child necessarily, but
we share everything. But that inner child that wasn't allowed to be a child, that witnessed so much pain and blood and disappointment, I still carried her and I still spoke with her. And now she's free.
Right.
And now we do whatever the hell we want. We dress however we like. We speak however we like. And if you don't like it, if they say, oh, Margie's coming, you're like, oh, here she comes with her silliness. You're more than welcome to leave, baby girl, because I'm coming.
That's right. That's right. Yep. And I want to note something too, as Gladiator Guru was speaking and she was talking about how her life was as a child and then how she is now. The beauty is that when we get in touch with our inner child and we free it and we allow ourselves to be who we're really truly meant to be, there's nothing but joy. There's nothing but happiness. And yes, somebody could look at it and say, well, she's being like, well, I don't care what they think of me. And it's that joyful. No, it is joyful though. But she's not walking up to the person and going, I don't care what you think of me. She's just being who she is. She doesn't care. She's not judging them. It's just like, look, if they've got an issue with me, they got an issue with me. That's not my problem. I'm being me. That is so freeing. That's why, sometimes one of the reasons why we have such sticks up our butts is the fact that we have allowed that child, that innocence, that imagination, that creativity, all those things that accompany childhood, we have allowed it to go away and become this rigid adult. It has to be this way, and I have to make this money, and I have to be this, and I have to be popular on social media, and blah, blah, blah. And who cared when you were a kid? So that's why we're asking you to do this, because this is
Mm-hmm.
what's going to bring you back to living the life that you're meant to live, because it's going to align you with who you are meant to be.
Yes.
You know, there might be things when you were a child that you're glad you're not doing anymore, that you, and that's fine. But the point is that you've checked in. You've checked in. If your inner child said, "Hey, you know what? Remember when you used to sing all over the house, and then all of a sudden you became an adult and you don't sing anymore because some stupid people over the years said to you, you know what? I don't think you have that great of a voice, or you're not as good as this person," and then you quieted down. You know, I mean, I used to sing all the time, and was always very embarrassed to sing in front of people, because it's not that people told me I didn't sing well. It's just I didn't think I sang well. And then after a while, I was just like, screw it.
Because people told you. And then
Maybe
people
I don't
told you, and
remember
then you
that.
believe the hype.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember that, but I know I got in my way for sure. And then finally, I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? It's very joyful for me. You know, like the acoustics in this house are great. I'll put YouTube karaoke stuff on, and then I'll just sing, and it's wonderful. You know,
It
and
is.
now
It
I
sounds
go out to
great.
karaoke nights with friends. You know, local friends, and it's nice. You know, it's I've never done that before. I mean, I think I've gone to karaoke. In my whole entire life, I think prior to this, like a month ago going, I've gone twice in my whole entire life, twice to karaoke.
Mm.
So it's not like I walk in and do it all the time, but you would have not guessed that when I was there a month ago. It would have been like, oh, she does this all the time. It was like, nope, that was like the third time in my whole life that I've done it, because,
Uh-huh.
but now I'm doing it with a different flair, because it makes me happy. And I don't care if I don't hit the note. It doesn't matter.
Good. And you sing good. She sent me some recordings, and you are good. So keep going. But with everything you just said is very important. I'm gonna go back to something you said. I said that I didn't care about people, and then you said, yeah, it's not that she don't care. That's too much explanation. I don't give explanations to people either. You know why? Because your reasoning is not my business. And me explaining myself to you is not my business. So I don't care. It's not that I'm offending anybody, but not everybody deserves an explanation. Just like not everybody deserves VIP
It
seating
wasn't really
in my life.
explaining. It was just reading.
No. I'm not saying nothing wrong with that. Like you explained your musical thing. I don't give explanations. Like if I say something and then somebody gets offended, I want to speak to that person who says they got offended by what I said. That's how I fix it. But I'm not, you know what? Because I'm trilingual. I speak English, Spanish, and profanity. And when you piss me off, they all come out at the same time. You know why? Because that's just who I am. And I'm not going to waste the time that I have on this earth, because every day is every moment is a precious time in your life. Explaining myself to people. See, I learned a long time ago, you cannot share your goals with people with no vision.
That's
So if
right.
you're upset that I said I really don't care about other people's opinions when it comes to my spirit, then there's really, what else can I say? I was clear. I don't care about other people's opinions regarding my spirit. And now you got offended. That's an issue you got to resolve within yourself, Mama. That has nothing to do with me or what I said. And when people get offended, I want to speak directly with them, and I would say whatever it is that I need to say. Like, if you got offended, then I'm sorry for that, but this is just how I am. I'm not going to stop being who I am. Can I change if it's wrong? Absolutely. But because people are offended, because I'm free, because I love me, because I think I'm awesome, fuck out of here with that. That's not happening. And
All
that's
right.
it.
We are at the end. So the living month, okay, we're the month of living. So next week, we are going to be talking about perpetual joy and creating. All right. Life is creation. And when we stop creating, we stop really living truly, So we want to nurture that. We want to bring that back out in you. And that's why getting in touch with that inner child this weekend is going to be really imperative, because that's going to allow for more creation. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. Have a beautiful weekend. Be silly, be free, and release that inner child.
Yes, do that. And I want to ask everybody who's still on, I think we should have the Badass Buddha sing to us next week on one of the shows.
Oh, yeah.
Because she just said, be free, be silly, let out
You're
the
calling
inner
me out.
child. And I think you will all like it. So for those that are still on, make sure that you say, yes, we want Badass Buddha to sing on the show. Because you know
Oh.
what? I can't sing. And I was in a band because I never cared about what other people had to say. I could sing in the shower, in the car. Let me tell you, when I'm singing a song, I sound just like Whitney Houston. Other people are like, can you please shut up? But I enjoy singing always. So that's what I do. But she can sing. So,
All right,
so
everybody.
I love you. Everybody,
Thank you so much for coming on.
have a great weekend. And remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
I thought you already said it.